Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 936, directed by Tasuku Shimaya and supervised by Shigefumi Shingaki. After a year and some change of directing other directors' boards and learning mainly from Komaki herself, Tasuku Shimaya is finally having his debut as a solo storyboard artist and episode director, with his board looking to be heavily inspired by his mentor with powerful and emotional compositions that rely heavily on the post-processing team, which should hopefully give the reveal of RYUO and Hiyori's tale the extra oomph that they need. Now, while Ichikawa and Matsudo will be doing their very best to clean up the general art quality of the episode, Shigefumi Shingaki's tendency to not correct and generally unappealing artwork with alien facial features has probably been at its poorest in Wano, so it unfortunately has the potential to hinder an incredibly important episode due to the supervisor always having such a large hand in it all. Of course, there seems to be a couple of nicely drawn corrections from him since he always has a few regardless of his art's quality, but I still really hope that it doesn't stand in the way of the episode as a whole achieving the absolute best that it can. So will episode 936 serve as a fittingly strong debut for the recent addition to the pool of directors? Time to coat our arms in Haki and find out. This episode covers the first 6 pages and pages 14 through 16 of chapter 939, and the first 5.5 pages of chapter 940. And despite what you may think since it jumps between a bunch of different content, the episode never feels disconnected. The thing about these original chapters are that they're packed to the brim with tons and tons of exposition and lore that thickens both the plot of Wano and the series as a whole, making it a tad bit overwhelming maybe for those who are reading. So I actually welcome the fact that plot points which started being covered last episode, like Zoro and Hiyori's conversation and Hyogoro asking Luffy why he's training in a prison, are lumped in with stuff like learning the truth behind those 3 old men that Hiyori tricked. And just like we've come to expect, it all allows the anime to add in small filler here and there to act as connective tissue between the locales. That makes it so certain scenes aren't as incredibly sudden and presented as flashbacks like Law's words to Shinobu. It is a bit odd that we didn't actually get to hear the name of this advanced form of armament Haki this episode, despite what the classic Toei title may say, but I was thoroughly impressed with how sturdy this all felt on the adaptation front. It takes manga Wano's biggest weakness in the fact that it's a bit disconnected and wordy in places, and uses it to its advantage to create a different interpretation of said content that still feels accurate despite the massive amount of liberties being taken. After his efforts in the beat part of 924 looked promising, I was very much so looking forward to the full debut of Shimaya's storyboarding capabilities, and he did not disappoint here. While not as fixated on ambient lighting as his mentor is, Shimaya asserts himself as the next student in the Komaki school of storyboarding with an incredible amount of eye-catching visual cues being present that make it so your eyes never waver even in a purely dialogue scene, standing alongside carefully curated expressions and acting that breathe life into even the most mundane moments of the episode, with the explanation of the 3 old men being the best examples of both of these. Coupled together with some more of those competently done compositions that portray a needed sense of scale within the several different environments, and Shimaya's full storyboard debut ends up being a damn good one at that. Sure, the little bits of action that were on display may need a bit of work, because it felt a bit confused as to if it wanted to be packed with scale or up close and personal, but this board all in all definitely makes me eager to see what Shimaya does in the near future. On the flip side, Shingaki's art is still not all that great in the grand scheme of things, as it still inhibits a rather bulbous look that just doesn't appeal to me much, but for the first time in a while, his presence was actually felt on an episode instead of the chief supervisors being the head honchos, effectively waving away my main fear going into this episode, which helps make 936 an overall solid package. It's certainly not going to win any awards in the long run due to the array of episodes that Wano has had in its so far year-plus run, but it still surprised me quite a bit even when I was expecting something nice, and serves as a nice next step for Shimaya's career on the series proper. And I for one hope that I can mirror this same feeling again with next week's episode 937 from Satoshi Ito and Kazuya Hisada. While Hisada's been holding his own since he stepped down as character designer, Satoshi Ito's directorial prowess has fallen a bit flat in his past few appearances due to one reason or another. I'm happy with how the board's looking based off the preview, and what little animation was shown looks far beyond my expectations for for it. So I truly hope that I can sit down and be surprised again next week in the same type of way that I was here. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and Shingaki's Usopp may rival Shimanuki's in sheer teeth size.